Hello, everyone. Welcome to another day, another challenge, another 4,000 words. We are currently sitting at 12,500 words at the beginning of chapter 8 of our book. A little bit of setup going into the fourth day here. We're going to have a funeral scene for Adric, where Kit and Valia will be there and other characters in the city. And then from there, we'll make the decision on who will go south to the Quakesland with one of the spokesmen or two of the spokesmen to find this magical relic to seal the darkness or whatever is hiding there. And we'll unravel some more of this threat of secret war that the Ox mentioned from chapter 7. So that is the plan for the day. Again, we're gonna sit and record for about an hour, and we'll get or maybe 20 minutes. I don't know. I yesterday seemed to work okay with just 20 minutes, and at this point, I should have cut myself off by the voiceover because we're just talking too much. All right, so two things I wanted to talk about today in the voiceover. I want to talk about chapter length first off, and then I wanted to talk about characters and how to have them have unique voices that aren't just a copy of your own voice as the author. But first, about the chapter lengths. It's always interesting to me looking at novels and seeing where the author decided to break up chapters and where they decided to just add in little scene breaks that kind of broke up the chapter within the chapter. And then you could get to the broader topic of splitting an entire book up into scenes and sections and parts. But for chapters themselves, for this project for myself, I wrote the first few chapters around 2,000 words for every chapter, and that felt like the right length because I was spending more time trying to figure out who the characters were and what was going on in the world. But as I've gotten through, the last 5 through 10 chapters, I found that the chapters are getting shorter because they seem more like scenes, and I know more about the world, so I'm not having to spend as much time exposing what's going on. And so I think that might shift as I go down the road, and I might go back to the beginning in edits once the whole novel is completed and kind of fix some of those novel length issues that I currently have, because it's not as consistent maybe as it should be. And I like the idea of ending chapters on something of a cliffhanger, because then it makes you want to read the next one, and that's somewhat difficult to do sometimes. But I think if you're a master of your craft, you kind of are able to do that. And then the second thing I wanted to mention about was characters and having unique voices, because as the writer, as the author, we're only ourselves, and so we're kind of trying to put on all these different hats, and we're trying to pretend like we're somebody else, and so to get that voice down and make it sound like it's these unique people. And I find that sometimes I can be reading what I'm writing and go, wow, all these characters sound the same. All of them have this same kind of wit, they have the same kind of dialogue, the same kind of whatever that sounds similar to me as the author. And I think it's important to be aware of that, so you can catch yourself and make sure that the characters sound different and unique to each other, because you're trying to make unique people. You're trying to make a world that is full and broad, that is more than just one type of person. All right, that is 2,000 words, almost about an hour worth of writing. I feel actually really, really good about those two chapters. I wrote chapter 7 and chapter 8. We have a scene of Valia at the funeral burial of Adric, and then we have a scene of Kit at the same funeral burial, and then they interact with each other and they talk about their sadness and about how Valia doesn't feel like she can stick around because of all the reminders of her brother. And then Rusk, the average-looking religious guy in brown, who talks about Illyrion, this water god. He shows up at the gravesite at the cemetery and drops a bombshell and gives some very interesting information. So we're trying to up the intrigue a little bit. We're trying to get all these components together and not just get bogged down too much in all the little details. So thanks for following along. Thanks for watching. I know these videos are not doing very many views and that kind of thing, but I don't really care too much about that. The goal for me is more to get the novel and finish this. And I think, just like anything else, you got to look at the long picture. And I'm not expecting to blow up on this website or this blog or this story in the first 4 days. or even the first month once I'm finished. It's just, I want to write, and that's the dream. So we're going to keep doing it and stick to the schedule. Thanks for watching. Thanks for following along. We will see you tomorrow.